Hello my dudes! Welcome to another video. My name is Daphne, and if you haven't subscribed already, please make sure to hit the buttons down below and give me a thumbs up because it'll make me so happy. Today, we're going to talk about waist training. What is it? What works? What doesn't? All in between, and intro. Alright, so let's get straight into it. So, waist training, right? It's become very popular nowadays. You see all the women in the gyms having their waist trainers on, putting their creams on in the locker rooms. I just want to clear up first the whole waist trainer thing. Now, if it's actually beneficial or not, honestly, my opinion, it is kind of questionable. I think it's uncomfortable. I think it can ruin your digestion, internal organs, things like that, depending on how tight you're wearing it or not. I don't know how great it is for your health. We think about going back in the ages of corsets, things like that. And as far as its ability to create a smaller waist, again, it's more temporary rather than like a long-term solution. I feel like maybe for some people it can be a boost of confidence if they're wearing them, and it can give them a better shape while they're wearing them. But think about it more of like a hair elastic band, right? You're wearing your hair up all day, and then when you take your elastic band out, there's like a dent in your hair. But if you sleep and you wake up the next day, the dent isn't there anymore. So the waist trainer is kind of like that. So it could kind of work as long as you keep wearing it all the time. But then if you stop, like, it just goes back to your natural shape, unless like you've misfigured your organs and bones, if that makes sense. Waist trainers, what can they be useful for? I know some people love just sweating more in the gym and things like that. So for that, it can work. But will it make your waist actually smaller? It's questionable. It's a personal preference if you guys like working out from them, using them, whatsoever. Let's go into what I personally do to maintain a smaller waist while training. So first of all, having a small waist does have to do with genetics. So some people have different structures. So I know it sounds kind of cheesy to say or whatever, but it will kind of depend on your actual structure itself. Same thing like abs, like some people have more prominent built abs. They don't have to go so low in body fat to show them. Others do not, vice versa. So we do also have to keep in mind that there are genetic variances. Personally, me, right, as a bodybuilder, whatever, we need to make sure our waist stays small because it'll play a big role on creating that X frame for the girls on stage, for the guys at V frame. And so that's something that's important to keep throughout. But even if you're not competing, you might just want a smaller waist for aesthetics. All right, so let's now go on to things that you can do. So first of all, if you are overweight or you have excess body fat, getting down to a proper body composition in order to show your shape more, what you built muscle-wise, things like that will definitely help a lot. Because that will happen, of course, through nutrition and through training. So dialing that down will help a lot as far as, again, creating that overall shape in general. Then as far as your training, right? I know I said that genetics plays a big role, but say you genetically are a little bit more, thicker around the waistline, what you can do is create the illusion of a small waist. And how can you do that? By training your shoulders and your glutes a little bit more for hypertrophy to create then that, again, X frame, right? You get wider on the shoulders, wider in the hips, creating that smaller waistline. It gives the illusion of a smaller waist. So don't feel bad if, again, genetically you're not just born with like a small waist or you're not a petite frame. No problem at all. Then continuing on training, as far as specifically training your abs, I would say don't be worried to train them first of all, okay? In general, don't be worried to train your muscle worrying that they're gonna get too big or too bulky, especially for you girls out there. But muscle mass takes time to build, and honestly, if it gets to the point that you're starting not to like it or it's too much for you, which again, it's a very slow process, you will be able to see it and recognize in the mirror before it gets to that level. So don't like stress so much. It's not like if you train heavy 1 week, all of a sudden it's like you're top bodybuilder, most muscle in the world. It doesn't happen like that. And training heavy will help you give that shape and that toned look that you all desire. Back to the training of the abs. Stray away of like working your obliques too heavy. I would, you know, stay more towards like crunches, planks, leg lifts, things like that. Because if you don't want to add a lot of thickness to your side, not to say that don't train your obliques at all. Maybe you kind of focus more on twisting rotations when you're working your abs. But if it's something that you want to avoid, I wouldn't try to do stuff that will add too much thickness to your obliques. So train them more for strengthening purposes rather than muscle density. But again, as I said, if you train your obliques, again, it's always going to change from day to day. So keep it just from a visual standpoint. If you've gotten to a level of muscle in your core that you're happy with, then I would just do whatever it takes to maintain it and keep it there. And use pictures, use your check-ins to determine what you need to focus on, what you want to do next, especially when you're working for aesthetic goals. Another thing that has helped me a lot, and my coaches have me do it, is low pressure fitness training. So in short, it's LPF. It has many benefits. It can help to make your waist smaller, train your waist to be smaller. It also has tons of benefits as far as, you know, straightening your core if you have low back pain, people who have done pregnancies, if you have incontinence, prolapse, hernias, things like that. It works to work those muscles, those deep core muscles, when there's not a lot of pressure. That's why it's called low pressure. Pressure meaning from air, from breathing. A lot of times we rely on different functions to create pressure and stability, and those deeper muscles and structures are a little bit more relaxed. They get to slack a little bit. So by training this way, you get to really strengthen those, which can help a lot. Even just like your respiratory system, how you breathe, because we're working your diaphragm, which is part of your core as well. We're lifting that pelvic floor, and you're creating that small waist. If you've ever seen it, it's kind of popular. Arnold used to do it, the vacuum, you know, when everything kind of, it's like sucking in, you have that little space here, and you can see all your ribs. That's like a vacuum. That's part of low pressure fitness training. I'm gonna hop over to my mat, and I'll show you guys what I do for low pressure fitness training, which has helped me a lot with my core control and also keeping my waist smaller. So, hopped over here onto my mat. My stick plant over here, isn't it wonderful? It is, I know, and like the sparkles. I think it gives like a cool, like aesthetic little vibe. Anyways, so, low pressure fitness training. When I first started, it was driving me insane because I thought I couldn't do it. So what you kind of do is, it's not like you're just sucking in, but you're kind of sucking in and lifting everything up like into your chest cavity. I recommend starting laying down. I find that was the easiest way to kind of really get a handle of it. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna lay down. So flat on my back. I typically recommend doing it first thing in the morning when like you're fasted, you haven't eaten anything. It'll just make it a little bit easier. So you take a deep breath in and then let all the air out. Make sure you're completely empty of air, and then try to suck it in. But you have to be completely empty with air. Suck it in and bring it up. So you breathe in and out. So that's how you do it on the floor. It's hard, you can't really talk while doing it, so I'm trying to show you as good as I can. Then you can do it on your knees. So you come on your knees, and I kind of hollow while I go in. So let's do it again. So breathe in, breathe out. All right, So you do it again. So you're just trying to hold it in as much as you can. And you're really lifting that pelvic floor. You might even feel it like here, like a little bit of a vacuum. Then eventually you work this way up to being able to do it standing. So I recommend if you're doing it standing for the first time, you actually bend over and place your hands on your knees. Okay, so now I'm standing. So again, same thing. I want to take a deep breath in, breathing out. So as you kind of see, I was able to get that hollow. Again, it's kind of my bad because I literally just ate like not too long ago. So it's a little bit hard right now and it's causing a little bit of digestion, but that's how you do it. So you're lifting in apnea, so without breath. And then eventually, as the more you practice, it'll become so much easier. I swear, if you do 5 minutes every morning, and then you can progress on doing that while also working your abs in a way. So I'll show you one variation of that. So back on the floor, right? Start one leg at a time. So you'll bring it all in, you'll let out your air, create that lift, and then bring one leg up and down, and the other leg while holding it in. And then eventually you should be able to bring in both legs up, right? This technically could be an ab workout right now. So you try to do that without pushing out. Like you see a lot of people, they think that they have to push their stomach in. We're working the opposite way. And as I said, we're working very closely with those deep core structures that's around that lower spine, the pelvic floor, and the diaphragm. So here we go. I'll just give a demonstration. Perfect. Again, hollowing can help a lot. So sometimes internal rotating your hands and kind of doing that pressing motion can really help bring that in. So you can play around with that. Also, if you're bending over, kind of pressing, knocked my foam roller, kind of pressing on your hips and help really bring that up until you're able to do it without it. Ooh, look at that little tricep pop. Like that, love it. That made me so happy. So you guys, I hope that was useful for you and that it was helped, cleared up some things. If you have any questions whatsoever, comment down below. I love hearing from you. Like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Mwah.